episode of She Decides, host Staci Swiderski sits down with Jessica Flynn, award-winning educator, best-selling author, TV host, and social entrepreneur, to explore what it means to live a purpose-driven, multidimensional life. As the founder of the Flynn Collaboration, creator of the You Power Project, and author of One Decision Away, Jessica has built her career around one core belief: we are never just one thing. Through education, mentorship, and business innovation, she empowers others to lead with intention, embrace growth, and find power in the choices that shape their stories. Together, Staci and Jessica dive into the intersections of leadership, learning, and legacy, discussing how one decision can spark transformation in both life and business. Because when she decides to embrace every part of who she is, she creates impact that lasts far beyond herself.
You know who made it.
Welcome, everybody, to our next episode of She Decides. I'm your host, Staci Swiderski, and I have the wonderful Jessica Flynn, who is the founder of the Flynn Collaboration, with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me, Staci, and your whole team.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So I think you're going to bring a lot of just business information and just how you've done it all, and just be really a wonderful, just amazing guest to our audience today.
I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yes. And I know you are, you have two children, right? So you've built you've built your organization while you're just been a busy mom. And so let's dive in and get into it.
Oh yes, motherhood.
motherhood. So what really made you embrace what you do? And I mean, you're doing so much all at once. Author, entrepreneur, consultant. I mean, you've just done it all. TV host. So let's motherhood.
Motherhood. Yeah. So, I mean, I think becoming a mother, as you would know, is such a mirror of what do I want for these children, and where am I at in that, and modeling that. And so when I had my firstborn, Hunter, who's now 7, he just turned 7 this summer.
That was going to be my next question. How are you? How old are your children?
Yeah, so Hunter's 7 and my daughter Vienna just turned 5. They're 2 years, 2 weeks apart, so summer babies.
I love their names.
Thank you.
So cute.
Yeah. And I always joke when Greg and I, leading up to the day of birth, our short list for names. So I think we had 12 names narrowed down for Hunter and 14 for Vienna. We were really like, we need to meet them before we name them.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a lot to, narrow down. That's like still a lot to choose from, 14 and 12.
Yeah.
So.
And I used to be a high school educator, and I remember being pregnant with Hunter and having that conversation with some of my high school students. I'm like, you have to name a human person? And I just love how young
and they have to live by that the rest of their life.
Exactly.
Is that going to define them?
Exactly. So when I was pregnant with Hunter, I was actually in the thick of my very first business, which was a construction company, a boutique construction company called Funky Bunkies. And that was my first solo venture after a journey of working for other entrepreneurs. I had incredible women mentors to help me discover myself as a business woman. I came to where I now live in the Collingwood area, so about 2 hours north of Toronto. Okay. I came here to be a high school teacher, and was arriving here. And I also met my husband a couple weeks after moving here, where everyone else around me saw me as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman. And I just hadn't had that exposure growing up. No one in our family or friend network growing up had their own business, was an entrepreneur. I really thought the word entrepreneur kind of meant unemployed. Like, that's a nice way of saying.
Well, so sometimes you feel that way, right? It's like a roller coaster.
Feel that way. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Well,
I was
going to say, let's back up a little bit. You had mentioned you were in the construction. You had a construction business.
I did. Yes.
So what type of construction, and being a female in that? So when you say construction, I automatically think you're building houses or something.
Right. Well, that's kind of part of it. So when I met my now husband, Greg, when I moved to Collingwood, he owned a number of properties and was an entrepreneur in real estate. His parents are realtors, the whole thing. And so I got involved I always liked to decorate my own room growing up, but this was an opportunity as a young adult to do full-scale renovations. And we took on one project. It was a historical restoration. So it was a one-story sixplex, really dilapidated. And over a 3-year period, we removed about 7 layers of flooring, 3 layers of ceilings, and revealed this gorgeous, yes, it was built in 1850. It was one of the oldest buildings in the town. And I learned so much during that time. I learned about, I really am talented. I have an eye for design. I learned about managing trades. I learned about working with my spouse, where, your finances and your literal roof over your head is on the line. And that feeling of doing something completely couldn't have been done if you weren't part of the picture. And that's where I got that taste of entrepreneurship, working for yourself, and then seeing a kind of a gap in our local market of not a lot of females represented in that industry. And also I didn't see much project management being offered for smaller builds. And so Funky Bunkies was the idea that we would focus on small structures. At the time, HGTV and tiny home living was very popular, but what you can do in different parts of the States where a lot of those shows are recorded is very different than what you can do in Canada and in Ontario.
I immediately was thinking of what is the Magnolia Network, the Chip and Joanne, how they,
Baines.
Yes. Because there was a show on their network, something where they restored really old properties or whatever. So it's amazing to see the before and after.
And it's creative. It's really could pour yourself into these projects, and it's such a physical manifestation of this didn't exist, and then you and your team arrived, and now this is the result.
Well,
so I love that about construction.
Well, even those homes too, or the building, the structure back then it's so different than what it is today. So
yes, there's been so much technology and innovation and growth in that construction industry, and actually now the Flynn Collaboration, which we'll get to, but one of my fractional clients, I am a fractional director of operations for an attainable housing developer. And so we work with different modular manufacturers who are building offsite in factory to help with the housing crisis that we have in North America. So we're working to build tiny home villages and communities. So it's kind of coming back to
full circle, So you definitely come to that with a lot of experience.
So that was my first solo journey. And it was while I was in that construction company that we got pregnant with Hunter. And at the same time, I was offered a permanent full-time teaching position with benefits and pension. And so that voice in the back of your mind as an entrepreneur, should I prioritize the shoulds? I should be responsible now. I'm going to be a parent. And so we closed Funky Bunkies.
Enter the corporate world.
Exactly. And I knew it took me 8 years to get a permanent teaching job based on my seniority alone. So I had been offered jobs that they weren't actually allowed to offer me those jobs because I had to go through the system, and it was based on my date of hire, etc. So that really bothered me that my own merit in a system like that didn't just equal opportunity. So that was one of the many red flags for me in the teaching, traditional teaching system. An education system. And also I am a creative, I am an entrepreneur, and it's just still such an outdated, rigid system that it really broke my heart to see, what I would love to do with students and what we just as teachers don't have the capacity to do in those classrooms. And I still have the utmost respect and admiration for teachers who are in those classrooms. Of course, yes. Doing it for all the right reasons. But I just knew it wasn't for me. It wasn't the environment I was meant to be in. So once Hunter came along, I only went back for 5 months before the pandemic hit. And then I got pregnant with my daughter, Vienna, and I hadn't been back to the public education system since. From there, I knew. And
you have no regrets. You're I know what I want to do. No regrets at all.
I own my time. I can be with my kids when they need me, when I want to be there for them. And it's just, I can't imagine doing life any other way now with 2 kids.
Now, is your daughter in school yet? Because you said she's
Yes,
5,
she's
right?
going
So,
into senior kindergarten this
oh,
year.
senior kindergarten. Look
Oh,
out.
yes. She's very mature.
Yes,
Vienna
yes.
is like, she is a force. And I always say, I want to be like Vienna when I grow up. She just knows who she is. She always has.
That a
And
girl.
oh my gosh. Hunter is such a sweetheart. He is a people pleaser. He really wants,
Aw.
other people to feel safe, to feel seen, and also accept him, which will serve him in all sorts of ways, but also challenge him in a lot of ways. But Vienna, I
Little
mean, she
firecracker.
loves and she loves deeply, but she does not need your approval.
She's like, get out of my way. I'm here.
Yeah,
I am
got
here.
this. Yes.
So let's talk more about you launching the U Power Project, and then obviously the Academy of South Georgian Bay, and where you do work with so many of the students in the communities.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Absolutely.
How you have gone back to really teaching that side
Yes.
of. So you are still in education. I mean,
you can once you're an educator, you're never not an educator.
Yeah, right.
It's just
right.
who
Just
can
a
you
different
serve outside of the classroom. Yeah.
Right. It's just who you're
After
serving.
Vienna came along, I kind of started, well, not kind of, within a month of each other, I started 2 corporations. So the Flynn Collaboration, which is my consulting firm.
I see where Vienna gets it from.
Right?
Her mama.
I want to be me all the time. And that's really what my portfolio represents, is I'm not just a teacher. I'm not just a consultant. I'm not just a mom. We're all these things all the time. I have a theater background. I'm not just an artist, but I am an artist. I am a creative. So I do think that, for the listeners here, the way that we've done work and career up until very recently has really forced us to choose one thing to define ourselves by for 30 to 40 years of our lives, for 8 hours a day minimum. And so it's exciting to see that we now, thanks to technology and different advancements socially as well, we have more opportunity to explore who we are as an individual human being and how we can bring that to our professional lives. So
right, you can follow your passions and do more than just, like you said, working the typical 9 to 5, and then and now with just the advancements, everything's at our fingertips. So it's really just taking advantage of that if you really want to do something, if you feel a calling.
If you feel a calling, there you have to. I think I've made most of my decisions to get to the point where I am today based on not having a super clear picture of what it is, but knowing exactly what it is not and when it is not any longer.
Yes.
And listening to that, I think it's hard to have a clear picture until you've arrived, right? Like I've got a vision board here. I'm a big manifester and visualizer, but the really concrete answers we don't always have. You have to sometimes just take a risk based on what you know is not right first.
Right. It's the perfection is never there, where people think everything has to be perfect, before you can start something, or you have to be so ready, or sometimes you just got to take that jump, because
motherhood. I told my husband, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever be ready. So if you feel really ready, let's just do it.
And learning along the way, and that's okay. And surrounding yourself around the people that maybe you can learn from, or that are going to, send that positive, reinforcement, and just following your dreams. And sometimes you may try it and you're going to fail, and that's okay too.
Exploration.
Yes.
And I have to say, Staci, like when you talk about community has been everything for me, and having those people from, the very onset of my career recognize certain qualities or skills, weaknesses, and strengths that you don't see necessarily for yourself, and surrounding yourself with people that you admire and respect, that have done things that you're interested in doing, and being open to their feedback and criticism and support. It's been a huge part of my journey.
I agree with that. Many times we have so many great qualities within us that we don't even realize. So
you take for granted.
You take for granted. You're like, what do you mean? Like, isn't that normal? And and a lot of people will be like, no, that's pretty impressive, or that's something you really, it needs to shine. So we need a little more of you to shine. Yes.
Well, and going back to the original, like the U Power question of, so I started the consulting to start, leveraging my skills that I didn't really realize I had of, I don't know if anyone listening is familiar with human design, but in human design, I'm a projector, which means you see the play and you know how to put the pieces together. So consulting is really what I'm meant to be doing, and educating. You can see the end goal for your students or
it's like you're a visionary.
Clients. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And it's the intimidation of calling yourself that and then actually monetizing that, putting it out in the world and celebrating and recognizing yourself. That's been a big journey for me.
Really embracing
I am that visionary, and I am worth paying for my thoughts and my strategic insights.
Right. I mean, when you can educate and help, and people are, it's a service that, you can offer that you really, really are good at. So again, thanks to the technology that we have these days and the outreach that we can, that we can serve. Let's do it, right?
Let's do it. Let's empower. And then the U Power project, we ran a test camp. It was deep in the pandemic, so it was virtual. We had kids from age 11 to 16 in that cohort. And we followed our BOSS framework, which is believe anything's possible, own that it's possible for you, shape your ideas into an opportunity, and share your ideas with the world. So yes, you can be a boss of a business.
I like it.
But it's so much more than that, to be the boss of yourself and to discover your unique you power and then do something about it, to whether it's a business or writing a book or starting a club, a venture that as young as 10 or 11, you are in control of, and that you have the resources, the support, the skills to do this. But in our, again, traditional system, we say, well, wait until you're in high school, and then wait until after high school and you get that certificate or degree, and then wait until you get the job to make your impact. But we really want to quicken that process for students so that they don't disengage from what they're learning in school, because they have this connection to their higher self. They have this connection of who they want to be as a change maker, perhaps as an entrepreneur. So we teach our students about the UN Sustainable Development Goals so that they can connect their ideas with, real global crisis level problems, and let them know that we need their uniqueness. We need their seat at the table, them to have a seat at the table. We need their ideas and creativity. And creativity, this stat that I learned early in the journey. So I just had Vienna, and I brought her to this creative genius workshop because I said, okay, I know I'm not going back to teaching, but I have to.
She says, I'll lead it, Mom.
Yeah, I got it.
I got it. Yeah.
Just plot me down. I have this amazing picture of her in her little car seat at the boardroom table.
Oh, I love it.
And it was, I learned about this study that NASA did. They completed it in the early 90s. It was one of the longest human studies done. And NASA's rocket scientists in the 60s were looking for more creativity. And you would think like rocket science, math, science, black and white, but no, we need creative thinkers. Thinkers.
Yep.
But this study showed that 98% of us as human beings are born creative geniuses. That's just how the human brain is designed to operate on this incredible creative level. And if you think back, Staci, to when your kids were like super, super young, they just make up these fantastical worlds and make something out of Lego that to us looks chaotic, but to them it's like, oh no, this is a unicorn.
They're using their creative, their mindset,
creative.
Their brain, and
Yes. Wow. But then by the time we reach age 10, that dropped down to just 30%. So almost 70% of young kids lose that creativity.
Do you think it's because they just haven't been exposed to expressing it? Or is that literally like your mindset where you do just lose it regardless?
You lose it regardless. So this study blames the public education system, where we are so black and white thinking. Success is linear. We have no way of really measuring and celebrating failure, that it is we're all in this system that is, choose a career for
it's like cookie cutter
15 years down the road.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's like a cookie cutter where it's just everybody.
Exactly.
It's like right. So,
and it's also safety. Like as a parent, I'm guilty of it, of no, you can't do that. You have to do it this way. And the kids hear a lot of no's when they're young.
Right.
And, parents are rushed. We don't have the time to sit
just
and
go,
really play and let them explore.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Less connection to nature, all of these things. The good news is it doesn't just grow out of us. It's like a muscle that we don't exercise. So creative genius
So it can come back.
We can come back.
We can restore that.
Absolutely. And entrepreneurship, I just saw as an educator and as a parent, I've never been more creative. And remember, I have a theater degree. I played a lot in high school.
Yeah, so you've seen your fair share of being
yes,
being creative lifestyle.
But entrepreneurship, you're constantly problem solving, iterating, designing. And so that too with the U Power Project, we need to teach all of these meta skills: creativity, resilience, agility, collaboration, communication, confident communication. But how do we do that in a lens that is exciting to kids, but also empowers them to take a tangible action? So for us creating a business, it's not that we're in the business of creating baby founders and the next unicorn. No. We use entrepreneurship as a lens to help them discover their unique talents and to amplify those for them and their parents and families. Because I don't know what, like for me growing up, I have European parents. So, both of my grandparents were prisoners of war in World War II. So jobs that had safety, security, pensions, benefits for the family, that was success. That was their go-to.
Yes.
That was their go-to.
Yes.
So it's also rewiring our experience as parents for what, Generation Alpha, what's available to them we can't even fathom, right?
Generation Alpha.
You need these concrete skills. We can't say that anymore as concretely as we could in the past. So when we say meta skills, we mean those soft skills that are really becoming, again, largely due to technology, the best currency and that best chance of safety and security is in themselves. So we use the analogy too of a bird on a thin branch, and that bird does not trust the safety of the branch. It trusts in the power and safety of its own wings and its own ability to fly. So that's
really,
Power Project.
I love that, really allowing them to bring out, all of their imagination and their skill sets that, that the generations are going to need that. It's like there could be a million little Elon Musks out there, right? Like, but we have to allow them to use that, and reinforce that, because it's not all math and
put
science
the resources
and
in front of them.
Yes.
It's not, and it's a part of it for sure.
Yeah,
but knowing who you are and what you're skilled at, and also knowing what your weaknesses are and who to go to help strengthen them. It's really a community of support that we're coming back to.
For sure. When you think about it now we're these young children over the last few years. I mean, they're starting school and they're already on computers. They're learning so much, and they're just, oh my gosh, they're probably going to be building apps by the time they are like in third grade.
Exactly.
It's just insane. It's way over my head, right?
Yes.
It's like, wow.
And now those hard skills of
incredible.
Building that app, like having the math, engineering, science, we have AI now. You can kind of plug into. So your communication to that AI, like how do you want it to build? Who are you building for? Having that empathy for your end user, having an awareness of how this really can make a difference, and having the grit to stick with it, to market it, to talk about it, so the actual mechanics of how we're creating and building things, that's I think exciting and empowering, because now, yes, a 10-year-old can create an app to make a game about learning how to not bully other people, or how to stand up for people who are getting bullied. So now they can focus their energies on what are they passionate about, and then again, it's another tool to help them get that idea out into the world. So rather than sitting around the kitchen table with your kids and they have this seemingly wild idea and you're like, that's great, honey, go to school, be an engineer and go build it, you can say, okay, let's write some of this down. Let's see, could you create this summer, or going into school, what's your after school project? Like, there are tools now, and organizations like ours, there are many who really want to support families in helping your child reach their potential, unleash their creativity, strengthen their creativity, and unlock their potential, and show you and themselves just how freaking capable and awesome they are.
Well, and to have those resources, like you said, AI and just the technology that we have, like I wish there was AI when I started my company now, almost 19 years ago. I think of like every website page, every form was written and, and now it's just like a push of a button.
Move this box over.
Yes. And now it's either going to create many, many genius people or maybe the opposite, lazy people. I don't know, but it's here and we're gonna ride with it.
Absolutely. And I think if you tap into your power, like that's where you can become the genius level. Like don't use technology passively
to get
but how can you use it
the
to
lazy
amplify,
route?
Yes, your vision and your mission.
That's right. Yeah, because it's gonna it's just a powerful,
it's here.
powerful
it's only getting
tool.
stronger.
Yes, and it's only gonna be we either you gotta use that, right?
Do you have any episodes, Staci, where you don't talk about AI? I feel like we have to.
No, not anymore. I just feel like it's so crazy. It's just so crazy, and for me, it just blows me away that like it's even possible. I mean. Growing up, being born in the 70s. And then, so I feel like seeing, all these trends over the years. So it's just, I mean, from going from a house phone on the wall to a cell phone was huge, right?
Yes.
Even a pager back in the day. And now here we have AI that is just, I mean, it's coding and it's just insane. It's just insane. So your book, One Decision Away.
Yeah.
I clearly that emphasizes on the power of choice and can you share the decision in your own journey when you were writing that, what really changed your path? Obviously I know you said the educational piece where, you want to, you're still always going to educate. But to sit down and write that book, how long did it take you?
So it's a co-authored book. So mine is chapter 1 in 12 chapters. And I'm working on now 3 of my own books because it was such a incredible journey.
Probably felt so empowered to do that.
Like share your ideas with the world.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. We all have so much wisdom to share. And as much as there's, social media, everything's getting so loud. There's something really different about holding something in your hands and reading someone's words in that
when you have that tangible
way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like pass it on to your friend and make notes and put stickies in it, the whole thing. So I'm really grateful to Amanda Wilson-Chochi, who was the lead on that book, who gathered the 12 of us to put it together.
I love the title.
Yeah, it really, and we had no idea how much it would resonate, mostly with women, but even older women in their, 60s, 70s, 80s of, oh my gosh, we just couldn't do this when we were
I think it's probably so fascinating for them.
It was really a celebration, and it's not all business. One of my good friends had been diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's disease, and she shares her journey of devastation and of growth and of grit and resilience, and she's now become an advocate for Parkinson's Canada and is doing all this incredible work. So it's not just your decision in business, it's your decision to show up for your life in any way and capacity. So the decisions I talk about in my chapter, are around, I remember, so I wrote about this. I was 31 when I got that permanent teaching job, and I had Hunter, and we finished our house, and we were having some champagne, and my parents were there, and my dad said, "You did it. Like, husband, baby, house, job."
Checked all the boxes.
And I was check all the boxes, 31. That's exactly, you're on track. And I was telling him how I was going to be quitting within, I just know I'm going to be quitting in the next year or two.
He was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I called it retiring instead of quit on to the next thing. And my dad, he looked so defeated, and he said, "Why can't you just be happy?" And it was actually my response, and my love for my dad in that moment was, "Dad, this is me committing to being happy and not committing to a life where I'm doing the shoulds. I should do this." And it's also that reflection of, the opportunities that I've had are very different than the opportunities my parents had and their parents had, thanks to the work of previous generations and of all of these advancements. And we have to make sure to continue to protect the progress that we've made, but also to take advantage of the opportunities that are there for future generations, thanks to those who came before.
Yeah.
So the idea of entrepreneurship and being able to pivot and do your own thing just wasn't available to my parents like it was.
I feel
for me.
like too, when you are an entrepreneur, it's just a mindset that it just doesn't go away. It's just in your bones, right? And you always feel like there's more you should be doing. Not that you're not proud of what you've accomplished, but you always want to be doing better, more. There's always something, because your brain is just wired like that. And that is what we love. That is what brings us happiness. Like you said,
making
to your
impact.
dad.
And how can I widen this impact? So, you know, when I was in the classroom, I could help 90 students a semester. Now we have connections through Global Affairs Canada.
Yeah.
We're working in Africa and Ethiopia. So we're potentially, you know, on track to support millions of students in the next 10 years.
That's amazing.
And that would have been such a missed. It is addicting. It is addicting. When you know that you have something in you, in your service, in your product that can change the lives of others and help others discover, how could you not?
Right. So and you just the fulfillment that you get.
Yes. Yeah. You have to put it out there. The world needs what you've got, big time, more now than ever.
And really, to go back to what you shared about really exposing those qualities from within is just also, it's okay. It's okay to, you're not being selfish if you're a mom or, you know, a mother or wife, or it's okay to have some me time, right? So those energies can come out.
They're hitting a chord. Yeah. I've had a lot of, so we, I think we're coming up on 4 years soon. We decided that my partner, Greg, my husband, would be the stay-at-home parent. Because I'm just more wired for being out in the business world, but the guilt.
Same here.
I've had,
my husband and I flipped too. Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know if this has been your experience, but the guilt of being away from the kids, like choosing to not be there with, and I've got incredible women around me who remind me of, you know, do you think if you were a different gender that you would be pausing as much if you were the
Isn't that ironic?
For your family?
Yeah.
Right.
The judgment's not there, right?
Right.
For men, if
and my husband receives a lot of judgment from his peers, or, you know,
and then
people
the
of older generations of, you're not like working.
That's
like,
he's
working.
Aren't you supposed to be the one working, the one bringing in the income, and the one that, you know, you come home at, you know, you work your 8 to 10 hours a day, come home, eat dinner, and go to bed. And it's like times have changed. I saw
an article yesterday about, who knows if it's just clickbait or not, but, you know, robots that could potentially one day grow human beings, yet we still think that, quote unquote, men should work and women should stay home.
Right. But that's okay for a robot to
exactly
to grow human beings, right? Isn't that's kind of ironic for sure. But I think, you know, again, it goes back to what really fuels us and brings out the best in us and the happiness. And, you know, you're a better wife, mother, entrepreneur, and an educator when you are doing what you really love to do. And rather than burning yourself out in something that, you're good at it, you know, you're a good mom or you're a good spouse, but if that's all you're doing and you just have a calling to do more, and you don't take advantage of that calling, you're going to eventually just kind of probably be miserable. And
exactly. And
just,
I have some friends who are stay-at-home moms who like do different level Montessori activities for each of their kids. That's just not me at home. Like being an educator, more like thought leadership and systems change educator. I'm not that at home for my own kids at the primary level. I taught high school. I'm working at the university level. I can't give that to my kids, but Greg can. And he's phenomenal at it. So, you know, if you are in your calling and your kids witness you providing for them in that way, oh my gosh, girl, like, we celebrate you. And for me, it's my kids seeing me in my element, and they talk about mommy school. They're going to go to mommy school one day. That is them seeing me in my element.
And that is what, and that is also when these younger children now are seeing their mom doing this. And then again, it goes back to where when they are 9, 10, 11 years old, 12, being able to say, wow, I don't have to just sit in this little cubicle and just, I can express, my thoughts and maybe build an app or whatever it may be.
And it will be safe.
Because you are, yes.
I will be supported. I won't be criticized.
Yes. And you're leading that example for them. And I think it's amazing. So I'm so looking forward to like another 10 years, although I don't want it to go by quick.
I know.
I want to stop time.
Yeah.
But the amazing, just to see what this world is going to come to. I mean, yes. So
how old are your kids, Staci?
Oh my gosh, my kids are so much older. My youngest is in college. He's 20. So they're 20 on up. So yeah. But
so
I do have grandchildren and to see, just what they're doing. And I mean, to watch my grandson, you give him, he'll be 9, but you give him a Legos and how he can build something so quick. Where I'm just like still on step 2. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Like,
or you have like no original creative ideas.
Yes. Right.
Instructions.
Right.
No, they're incredible.
They're so smart. So smart. Yeah. And that was going to be my next question for you is what would be your biggest piece of advice to women to really lean into their power, especially in business?
Yeah.
Obviously
to narrow it down is so difficult, but I think for me, the biggest game changer has been finding the right mentors and coaches, having a spouse who's like fiercely supportive. It is so hard.
Hands down.
As you know, it is so hard. And 5 years into my entrepreneurial journey, it can be isolating, exhausting, but when you've got people who see you for who you are becoming. So those people
I love that. Who are you becoming? Because they have
who've met your
all the
highest
faith.
Self
Yes.
already.
They know that you're capable.
Yes. That's been the biggest commodity. The biggest gift has been that network of support. And if you don't have it yet, I mean, reach out to Staci or I. Like, there's so many ways to find those people. If when I was growing up, I didn't have those exact roles
different world, right?
Different worlds. And it's, I have such a close relationship with my parents, and we had a conversation in the last year that again was another full circle moment of them saying, we just didn't know that this world existed. We didn't know that these opportunities were there. So to see you, having met people to help you see that, to just know and then pursue it, we're so proud of you. And it is really a healing moment, and it's no one's
sweet
fault to be where you are, but
it's hard for them. I mean, they grew up in an era that we didn't have internet. We didn't, they didn't have that. I mean, that
exactly. And again, like first generation parents, like a very different mindset. So I'm incredibly
They lived on being comfortable to where they knew where their next paycheck was going to come, how they were going to feed their family and all of that. Yeah. Not to really go live on the edge, and it just didn't exist back then.
Yeah. So find your people that can support you and see you, and recognize those fears and doubts, like if they're really real, or if they've been passed down, and if there's a way that you can bust through them to really be who you are. We need you to be who you are every day.
Yeah. And that brings me to my next question actually is what challenges have you really crossed while you are, I mean, we still as an entrepreneur, you always have challenges, right? Always, but
challenges,
always, but really like, when you did decide to say, you know what, I'm going to leave this corporate setting to like, what challenges really have you faced really to balance, where you are now and continue to.
And all of these challenges I'm going to talk about have created such a strength that I had no idea I was capable of. I think when you're a mom, like you reach this level of strength that you had no idea, like the lift a car scenario. You're like, right, for sure. Yeah,
I got this. I got this.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same for entrepreneurship. I feel like, when you go through financial hardships of, taking risks and, Greg, that 3-year renovation that we did, we sold that house to invest not in another property, but in ourselves.
Into yourselves,
into education, into coaching, into time with our family, into startup money for our businesses. So we put it a lot on the line, and that's been, tough, but wouldn't do it any other way. So,
Absolutely.
finding and just the the month to month has been like brings a level of stress in those early days, and managing cash flow and not knowing when the next thing's going to come in. But then also on the other side, being asked for proposals that would be 6 months of my teacher's salary for one project. So there is payoff.
Yes,
if
there
you
is.
keep to it. The challenge of just the energetic output. Like, I am a very impatient person by nature.
Yes. I think most entrepreneurs are so impatient. I want something done like yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to wait for you to solve this problem. I'm going to work on solving this problem.
Even though you're probably way better than me at something, it's like, no, I don't have time to wait for you. Like, I got to figure this out. Yes.
Yes. So
it'll take me 20 hours. It'll take you an hour, but I got to do it.
I just got to, then I'll learn, and then I'll know that it's valuable.
Then I don't have to ask you the next time. Yes.
Yes. So I think that challenge of like thinking you should do it all or can do it all, and like
that's a challenge
burnout, exhaustion. Like, yes. Yeah. And then when you're ready to hire a team, I hired my first assistant in the spring, and I thought like world just opened up, and then just 3 months in, she got hired for her dream job. So I had to rehire someone, and I found another incredible woman. But it's just being a leader again. When you've been, entrepreneurship, you're often starting off solo, for potentially years of doing everything. So, for example, a podcast,
wearing so many hats.
So many hats. And then delegation is really tricky.
It is, finding people, but it's so needed as you.
It's so needed.
It's so required. Yes. And letting go of that control to somebody
so that you can really be. And I think when you said it earlier, the visionary, like being comfortable being the visionary on a team, knowing that other people want to support that vision.
They are handling it. Yes. Behind the scenes. Yeah. So important. And I think we talk a lot about, having the right support around us and, leaning into that. As an entrepreneur, or as just anybody, as a woman, as a person, to surround yourself around the positive as much as you can. But definitely as an entrepreneur, I think it's important to always talk about the challenges when you do have the best support, when you do have you're doing the right things, but there's still going to be hard days and challenges. And maybe a day like it's the budget is, you have to budget, but then it's like, well, you don't know. It's going to be a really good month, or it could be a not so good month financially, or, whatever it may be, but you're definitely going to go through those roller coasters. And And
then you add motherhood and parenthood on top of that.
Right. And then all your other responsibilities that you you obviously are priority as well. So it's really juggling, and that's why I'm never in agreement. Not a big fan of the whole work-life balance, because there really isn't one. I mean, when you are running a company and you're an entrepreneur, and it's like you are tackling priorities, you plan for them as much as you can, right? We're planners as well, but there are, curveballs that come, and that may be a priority. Right. Yeah. That it doesn't always work that way. Right. So
a good friend told me, rather than balance, which like what an incredible expectation of ourselves, like always be in perfect balance, but harmony. I look at the logo behind you, like everything that happens in harmony. And
harmony.
Yes. That way.
So the whole work-life balance is out the window for me anyways. But you hear that all the time, and it's just like, oh gosh, it's like, ugh. Like
it is. Yeah. Don't try to balance.
Yeah. Stop people.
When I think balance, I think like circus performers can balance, but not the average person. I think too, Staci, when it comes to a challenge that we talk about in the One Decision Away, it's this beautiful analogy that I love, and what I wasn't necessarily ready for, but I am. One of the things I'm most grateful for is how I've learned to embrace challenges, and that mindset is everything. And so when we think about growth and transformation, again, I used to think about growth and transformation on this very linear upward trajectory. And that's so not what happens. And the lead author in our book, Amanda, her company or coaching and women's network is called Monarch & Co. And the monarch butterfly, if you think of a butterfly, like from a caterpillar to a butterfly, I literally just assumed, I'm like, it goes into the cocoon, and then like the wings pop out, and then it's a butterfly. That's not what happens.
Easy
And
peasy.
probably a lot of people know. Yeah. What actually happens is that caterpillar like liquefies, becomes goo, and transforms into a completely new being. And that happens so much in entrepreneurship, where you reach that next level and you feel like you've been on top of the world, and then you're about to hit this whole
Then
new
all of a
level
sudden,
of growth.
boop.
Goop, goop,
Yeah,
goop,
yeah.
goop, goop. But then knowing that after those really hard moments, having to deal with difficult clients, having to navigate tricky financial waters, having a really hard week with family, you are truly learning so many skills, and it's like doing reps.
And you don't even
in the
realize
gym.
it. You don't even
Exactly.
realize it because you are going with the flow and you're a
And you are
visionary.
transforming into a new
yes.
person when you go through those scenarios.
Yeah. And I think really, just the consistency of every day showing up and just being your best self and not giving up and just being dedicated.
And your best self in that moment. Like
in that
you're
moment,
not always going to be,
because you're not always
like,
going to. And you
exactly.
gotta, that's right. It's just sometimes you have to step away for a minute, or take a couple days off to just like rewire, or just so you don't lose that focus, but you just have to jump back on and, just be really determined. I think the determination factor, because we don't always like what we're doing, but we have to show up. And we have to keep going. So it's a consistency factor, right?
And
That's
holding
important.
That vision. I know earlier I said, it's
so
not
important.
always super clear. I think I've never been super, super clear on every single next step, but the vision I have for my life and my family and the impact I want to make, that has been steadfast and clear. And that keeps you through, like going through the goo and through the muck and through the hard.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times you don't really know what you're doing, right? You have the vision, you know what you want the end result to look like, but it's like it's a really zig-zag line to get there a lot of times, and
absolutely,
and just not giving up.
You've never done it before.
You've never done it before.
Know how to do it? Yeah.
Right. You just don't. Yeah. So it's pretty incredible how we can, sometimes just really impress ourselves. Like, wow,
right?
I did that. I didn't think I was capable of that, but here we are.
Here
I did it. So now what's my next challenge?
A little
yes.
But we did it. Yeah.
Right. But we did it. Yeah. Yeah. Looking like a crazy woman, but we did it. And then you're prepared for the next challenge. But I feel like as the challenges come, I don't necessarily think they're really any harder. They're just different. I think we're almost more wired to like embrace them, and think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's training, because the kind of challenges you're going to have,
like on the job training, literally.
Yeah. The challenges you're going to have 10 years into your business, you wouldn't have been able to handle in year one. And I think too, when I think about my impatience, it's, oh no, I had to, the last 5 years have really been training, not only for me as a founder, but also for the companies to learn who they are and who they serve best and who they want to be. And so I'm giving myself this advice as I say it out loud, but embrace the time that it takes to learn as well.
Yeah. That's, and sometimes it could be difficult, but you have to embrace it for sure. So I have a question for you. How do you balance ambition with your presence? As we're talking about this, it just flows right into my next question.
Good question.
And what does that balance teach really your children about life and leadership as they're seeing you just doing so many things, right? Outside of being a mom, you're accomplishing so much, but how do you balance it all?
The vision with,
I think that's something we haven't talked about, is like balancing it, right? We're just always on go mode.
Presence has been something that continues to be one of my greatest weaknesses. And, gratitude practice has been really helpful with that. But I feel like I'm almost always living in the future and frustrated with the present, which is really unfair.
Oh my gosh.
To me.
You literally I never thought to say it that way, but living in the future, that's, oh my gosh.
Right?
I'm so glad you said that, because that was like ding, ding, ding.
But as a human and a spouse and a parent and a grandparent, our present has so many gifts, and everything that we've done with that huge vision in our trajectory has also brought us here to this beautiful beautiful moment. And I mean, even if there's struggle, everyone has struggle. But if you have people around you that you love, if you have food in your fridge and a roof over your head, there's so much to be grateful for. So I think having an app to remind me to be grateful, having a partner who reminds me of, you're hiking up this mountain and he just, look at everything that you've done and where you came from. So again, I don't think I balance at all, but trying to strike that harmony of when to focus on the future, and when to be really present is, it's tricky.
It is so
something
tricky.
I've mastered. If there's anyone out there listening who has tips.
And I don't even want to call it a flaw, right? Because I think it's just who we are. It's just who you are as a person, right? And you don't not live in the moment because you don't really, because you're not, those people don't care as much. Of course, they're priority, but you are such, you're on that, just that your mind is just going and you just want to build. And like you said, living in the future, and you love doing that, right? Yes. It's just, you love that challenge. And, but I love that analogy that you had just said, hiking up the mountain and your husband has to like, hey, look at how beautiful this is, the here and now.
Yes.
Yeah. That was such a great
visualizational
analogy.
tools like that I've had from him and coaches have been, again, mindset matters. Mindset is everything when it comes to entrepreneurship. I think product and service, you could hire your entire team to deliver on product and service. You need to be able to hold the vision, to stay resilient, to stay, dedicated in that visionary role. And,
absolutely. Because not everybody, it's your vision. It's your goal. It's your mindset. But like you said, you can hire people to really help bring that to life.
Yes.
Through training them and surrounding yourself around the people who really want to do good, right? Those A players. And that's something that we can definitely, and treating them with the utmost respect and, really just being grateful and thankful for those that really help bring our vision alive. And I think that's
and recognizing
so important.
that their growth under your leadership is not a threat to you. It is like the greatest gift you could witness is someone's growth on your team.
It's actually the opposite, right? It's of being a you want to see if they're growing underneath you, you're doing something right? And they're wanting to be there and they're wanting to do well for you.
Yes.
And and just like, it's kind of like the butterfly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like that butterfly, right? Yeah. And you're, when you can empower somebody to be the best version of themselves, I mean, that's just amazing in itself. That's what love it. So this has been so much fun and I mean, so empowering within itself. And that's our goal here, is to empower our listeners and just, to really put you on that pedestal, to just share how really amazing you are,
Oh, Staci, this has been incredible. You have such a safe and inspiring space and team. And if there's anything that, I think you're building such an incredible community for your listeners. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And before I let you go, I want to end our episode with some fun rapid fire questions that I like to close out our episodes with. These are fun. Yeah. Quick, easy, fun, to learn a little bit, more about maybe your personal side too.
Sure.
These are quick. Okay. Are we ready?
Ready.
Do you prefer books or a podcast?
Oh, podcast.
Yeah. That's kind of, we ask that quite a bit. On the go. Yeah. Sometimes you just, or an audiobook or same thing as a podcast. I almost feel like sometimes, right? Empowering students or empowering entrepreneurs? Oh, yeah. I think that, I know. That's like, I can't, that's a tough one. Huh?
That's a tough one. I'll say, to be honest, if anyone's ever known a teenager, if you can spark a motivation and a smile in a teenager, that's one of the best feelings in the world. So I'm going to say youth, but
say the students, because actually, if you empower them, you could really empower
those are the future.
Those, as I say, those are the future entrepreneurs. So So, all right, early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
Oh, okay, early mornings. Speaking of that, like your bedtime ritual or routine, because you are juggling so much, do you Are you like
It's terrible. It needs to be better.
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah. In my bed, girl. However, I do sleep well. I sleep well. And this morning was such a gift. I'm usually one of the last ones to get up, but my alarm went off. I normally don't have an alarm. I wake up naturally, but I had an alarm yesterday for an earlier meeting. And I was up an hour and a half before my entire family. I made coffee.
They're like, whoa, who's this woman in our house?
I know. I kept my phone in my office instead of like scrolling for an hour and a half. And I flipped through a home design magazine. I'm like, who is this person?
Wow. You're like, this is kind of cool.
More early mornings.
Yeah. You're like, this is pretty cool. I just cannot get myself to be that person. And I wish I could. So kudos to them.
When I say early, I'm not 5 a.m. I'm not one of those. Like, I'm not.
Right. Or to be that person who can, go to bed, leave your phone maybe in another room and just, I can't do it. I'm falling. I know. I just can't do it.
And it's worrisome. Like I think of kids who are growing up with devices, we didn't have our cell phones until we were later in life. And I still have this incredible addiction. That's another thing, like a challenge with entrepreneurship is like trying to figure out how to not always be available and on.
Really protecting your time and your peace and having those boundaries so you can focus on the priorities. But it's so much. I mean, well, think about it too. Like back in the day, like I didn't, you've seen families, you go to restaurants and the kids are sitting there just well-behaved or maybe not well-behaved, it's irrelevant, but they didn't have a phone or they're present, they're there and they're just, maybe they're scribbling on the menu or something like that, but they didn't have a phone to turn on, YouTube or watch a cartoon or something, where now it's just like, it's very interesting, the world that we live in. Okay. Getting back to our rapid fire questions. Would you rather, what's your preference, writing a book or launching a business?
Oh, I'm going to say right now, writing a book, because I've got enough businesses on my plate, and I have a few books in the hopper. So
you said you have a couple that you're, So you were inspired by that chapter and really just, you have so much more to share. Yeah.
So much more. Yeah.
Love it. Team collaboration or solo focus time?
Team collaboration. The first business I started after Funky Bunkies is my consulting, and it's called the Flynn Collaboration. I love collaborating on your business.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Big, bold risks or steady strategic moves?
Big, bold risks.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit addicted.
I'm going to jump. I'm just jumping in and we're going to see how this goes.
But it's good to have strategic, smooth moves on your team.
It's good to have, to have that to kind of keep the safe zone going. But I'm jumping on in. Sharks or not, I'm just jumping in. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yep, coffee. Same. 2 more to go. These are fun, aren't they? A beach day or a city adventure?
Oh, beach day. We live at the beach.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
At the beach. Yeah.
A little calmness.
Beach day.
Yeah.
Calmness. Kids are older now, so we don't have to bring as much paraphernalia to us to the beach. So it's less stressful.
And the last but not least is, I already know your answer on this one because it kind of goes back to the former question, but planning ahead or being spontaneous?
I try to plan. I mean, again, we've got that big vision, but I think I love when opportunities come up and just being open. And I don't know if it's spontaneous or, I guess adventurous and openness.
And I think sometimes being spontaneous, that comes out in our planning. Like as we're planning something, all of a sudden you think something from left field and you're like, and then you kind of go down that track. So it's
I think of it like the big vision is a pin in the map. Like if you put something in Google Maps, but the decisions you make of what route you want to take to
There's so many roads that, so many different, that leads you.
The scenic route. Or,
being open-minded, right?
Being open-minded. Yeah.
Well, Jessica, this has been so much fun. And again, thank you for your time today and just all of the amazing advice that you have shared with me and our listeners and just, really so valuable. So thank you.
Thank you, Staci. Thank you so much.
So much fun.